Hey there, it's Julie Hutchison here from Think Be Do Leadership, and I wanted to talk about why we don't outsource or delegate when we should or could even. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I've been doing presentations this morning to groups of small business owners who are trying to grow their business and also people who want to go from being employed into business. And we were talking about what does it take to be able to thrive in a business. And it was interesting because there were a bunch of business owners in there who perhaps had been in there for 5 years, something like that. But even those people were saying, well, I'm doing too much and I feel like I can't delegate or I don't outsource when I could. So we had this discussion about, well, hold on a second. If you're not outsourcing and you're not delegating, who's doing all the work? And as your business grows, the trouble is that if it starts with you and then gets bigger, if you're not open to delegating or you're not very good at it or you just feel guilty, sometimes people feel guilty, then if you feel that way, then you're not going to be able to grow the way you want to grow because there's not enough hours in the day. And so the reason why people don't delegate and outsource, well, these are the things we covered. So first of all, it won't be as good as if I do it. I think that's one that came up quite a lot, was like, oh, I'm kind of good at what I do. So if I outsource this thing, then actually I'm in danger of it not being as good as it was before. And that is true. Except that what's also true is that they actually might be either just as good as you or better than you if you create the environment that allows them to be better than you and you celebrate that in that they can be as good or better than you. Because sometimes we feel like we don't want to give something away because if we do, then like, well, that was my thing, and therefore we feel like, oh, I don't think either I don't trust somebody to be able to do it or I don't think that they could, or I don't want them to be as good as me because that kind of makes me feel bad. And then there's the guilt of giving something away that we feel like we ought to be able to do ourselves. And that came up as well today. Like, if you were told as a kid, that working hard is a good thing and that, you should earn your keep and all these things that your parents probably came out with, which are not untrue, but they guide us in our decision making. So when it comes to outsourcing and delegating, then we're like, oh, hold on a second, I should do this myself. So I now feel guilty to not be doing this thing that I'm now going to be outsourcing. So it can stop you from doing it because you feel guilty or lazy or like, oh no, I should be able to do that myself. Especially if it's been you from the very start when you have done it yourself. It's like, well, I should be able to cope with this. I should be able to do this. Okay. So is we don't trust people, or we feel guilty for doing it, or we don't like to think they might do it better than us. But also is that we've experienced it where it's all fallen apart and actually the quality has been worse when I have done it. Now, that is a can-do issue in that they can't necessarily do it, but we need to uncover that because why can't they do it? What is stopping them from doing it? And unlike, we don't train people to be able to do it or show them the way in which, it's right, and we don't tell people how to do it and how to really make a tick in the box and make it be perfect, then that's our fault for delegating. And that's actually more like abdicating than delegating. So, we might moan about how something's done, but did we set them up to fail? Did we set them up so that they didn't know how it was going to be? Did we set them up so that it wasn't going to be quite right? Maybe not even thinking about that. Or maybe we just said, oh, can you do that? And then you pushed it out and abdicated it, which meant that they had no chance of getting it right, which then is a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy because you've set them up to fail, they fail, then you feel like they're going to fail. Obviously, that isn't what I wanted them to do. Therefore, I was justified in not really wanting to delegate in the first place. Therefore, I choose not to. So I still end up doing it, which means you're busy and you don't get on with the stuff that you should do in your business. So you don't want that. We don't want self-fulfilling prophecies and vicious circles in our business. What we want is a conscious decision to be able to do something and then to look at, okay, what needs to happen for me to make that a success? Because we can tell ourselves from all of those things, those beliefs and those experiences, we could tell ourselves that delegation is a bad thing, or I can't let go of this and I need to control this. But in actual fact, if we were to unpick those beliefs, the reality is that all we need to ask ourselves is, what do I need to put in place to make it work? Does that make sense? So I want you to ask that question, exactly that. What do I need to put in place to make that work, to be able to delegate to Bob or Felicity or Joanna or whoever it is? What does Bob need so that I can delegate? What does, who was it, Joanna need so that I can delegate? Does that make sense? Yeah. And so if you do that and change your mindset around it, rather than telling yourself you can't or it won't work or they don't do a good job, is what has to happen in order to make it work, it will change the way you approach it. And it will mean that you can outsource or you can delegate such that you get a better response, which means that you can do what you want to do in your business rather than all this other stuff that actually is not earning you money or is only slowly earning you money. And you can leverage that time so that you will be earning more money, making life easier for yourself, being more profitable, more productive, because you were able to let that go and focus on the things that you are going to build your business with. So that was a quick little view into why we don't outsource and why we don't delegate, but we do need to, because that is the way we build our business. So if that meant something to you and you actually want to implement that in your business, but you're thinking, that would be great, Julie, but like, I'm not sure how to find out what I need to do, or I'm not sure how to get Bob or whoever the Bob is in your in your business is, how do I motivate Bob to be able to do it, or how do I actually get them confident enough to be able to do it themselves, and you want some help with that, then shoot me a call. I'll be happy to have a chat. Okay, right, or you can message me, direct message me, whatever you like. Okay, so if that's great, do that. In the meantime, if you would like to join the Facebook group that will give you more and more of these videos and more top tips on leading your team in your business, I'm just going to put it in the chat for you, which is Quiet Leaders with Impact in the Facebook group. If you just look for that. If not, here is the link. Let's put it in there, quiet. If I could spell. There you go. Okay, I put it in the comments. So have a wonderful afternoon, and I would love you to get in touch if you want to implement delegation, outsourcing, and help giving you more time in your business so you can grow your business and focus on the strategies that are going to grow rather than just do. Okay, right, any questions, please feel free to message me or say now. If you're listening live to this, then please stick a hello in, and if you're listening on the replay, press replay, type replay, and then tell me what your question is and I'll be delighted to answer it. Alternatively, just give us a shout, shoot a spell, and ask me the question. Have a lovely day.